because I can cut this later for the podcast, but this is already fun, and then we
Okay.
can just we'll start
See,
streaming.
we're just jumping right into it. We can't help ourselves.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Ah, God, I gotta delete this from Twitter, from Periscope because I can't change the description. It says live from Sansa. God damn it.
Yo.
Oh, there's Mike Armstrong right there, right on cue, dude. Oh
What's
wait,
up?
you are in a Rift or a
Yeah, I finally
Oculus.
got in a vibe. I finally found, or my headphones are like dangling off my head because they're like all broken. Like I don't know what happened, but everything just broke at once.
Hey, that's the way these things roll, man.
I'm like, who's real here and who's not?
Who's real? Oh my God, out of order. What?
Oh wow.
All right.
Hi Mike. Hi. Look,
Hey,
I'm real and this and Chris just recorded this. So
yeah,
so we're
nice to meet you. I mean, nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. So let me do a quick little intro. Can you
See,
bring up a
Drax, wherever you. So, Mike, I just wanted to show you the evidence of the madness that Drax brings in here. I'm going to play this for you. This is
Yeah,
proof.
cool.
This is proof. Drax,
Look at this.
wherever you go, you bring madness with you. Look at what kind of troop do you
I
got
don't know.
following you around here?
That's exactly what my mom said. My mom said I have so much potential, but I associate with the wrong crowd.
Oh my gosh. Look at this poor guy. He is just completely crumpled to the floor.
Wait, how did you record me? Oh,
There you
this is so
go.
awesome. Okay, Chris, can you throw up a mirror and let me talk to the mirror to
Yes,
the folks who watch this on the
of
stream?
course.
Nice.
Ah, this
Mirror
is
coming up. Here we go.
oh
Whoa.
my God.
Ah,
Okay, hi guys. This is Dragster, and I am here with Chris and with Mike Armstrong from Chris Matson, I should say, and out of order. He's when he can't talk, he's yeah. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. So these people are griefers. And here's Vasai. So we're streaming today from Engage VR, and I wanted to briefly say that I am really honestly impressed. My face is the Sansar avatar, just grabbing it, taking a snapshot from Sansar. They have at Engage, they have this face feature. You upload the face and it creates within, I would say, a minute, it creates your avatar. And of course, here it's black because that's where the dreadlocks usually are. So it's not perfect, but this is just a simple snapshot from the Sansa avatar. I mean, Mike, I'm assuming that Mike, this is your passport photo style or from your
yeah,
real
I just took this
face.
selfie today. I'm always
You
like
did.
trying to
I
play with
noticed
it to
that.
see see if I can get a little fatness off the side of my face from some of these other selfies that just somehow decided I was going to be fat. But anyways,
Well, I mean, the physical world don't lie. Uh, Right, but but Chris is looking very good. You slimmed down. I mean, you're working out.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing.
Not bad.
wow, yeah.
Look at
See, Chris has been working out. That's why.
the visceral fat is all gone. Okay, so Mike, please introduce yourself. Who are you, and
Yeah,
what is Engage VR for? What is it?
yeah. So hi, I'm Mike. I'm the lead developer of Engage. This is a platform that you can, well, as it says, communicate, teach, learn. So it's a teaching platform. It's a social VR platform that really tries to not have too many boundaries for what you can actually do, for creating content, for telling people what you know, and to communicate with each other, and all sorts of features. Always building it up, and lots more to come. That's Engage.
And Chris, you have a T-shirt, immersive education. Like I told you before, I mean, I'm honest. I'm not trying to kiss your butt or anything. I'm really impressed with how solid this is. There's a tablet, and for people who are listening to this on the podcast later, I can bring up a tablet. There are notes integrated. I mean, this is really geared towards teachers. I can bring my notes in here. I can share media with my students. Um, Tell me, Chris, well, first of all, how did you get involved with these guys? You've been like everywhere.
Yeah, so actually, this is a pretty cool story. Back in the day, let's see, let's go back to 2013 when the DK1 was first released, the Oculus Rift Developer Kit. Mike built one of the first social VR platforms, like right out of the gate, called Rift Max Theater. And at
Oh
that
my
time,
God, yes.
up until then, as far as like having a headset, I mean, obviously, social VR has existed for a long time with Second Life and whatnot, but this was
Thank
the
you,
first
Chris.
platform.
I paid you $10 to say this, and Second Life, by the way, is doing very well. Thank you. Okay,
I'll take
continue.
that in the form of a beer, please, Drax, next time I see you. But outside of the university settings, social VR, as far as using the headset, fully immersive, wasn't really available. Mike created the first social VR platform available to the world that anybody with a Rift could hop in. And what that resulted in is now you've got this 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 person developer community growing around the world. And we were all stumbling into this Rift Max Theater. I remember he actually changed the course of my life, because when I logged into social VR for my first time with a headset, I remember meeting him in the hallway of this theater and stepping back a couple of steps when he approached me. And, I come from a behavioral science background. I was like,
Right,
oh my God, I cannot believe I just felt social presence to the point where my personal
right,
space bubble mattered. I was like, this is going to change everything:
right.
education, the way we work, play, everything. So
Yeah.
I turned to my wife right afterwards. I said, honey, I'm changing careers. I'm shifting gears. She's like, what, 20 years? And now you're shifting gears? What are you talking about? But so it gave all of us developers, what we found ourselves doing is just doing roundtable discussions till wee
Right.
hours of the morning with developers from all over the world, and just pushing the bounds of what we could do in these spaces. That's how I met Mike. That's how Sandra and
It
David
was,
met Mike, who are the
yeah.
CEO and COO of Engage, or of Immersive VR Education. And we all came together back then and have been building this pretty much ever since.
It's
Yeah,
amazing
it
that
was
you,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
that you, I mean, isn't it, when you look at this, did you think like this is a no-brainer to build, you know, to make this a social platform vis-a-vis
Ah.
game? Because I was like, what, this is the main. I mean, Chris knows it. I'm not a gamer. This is how I use these spaces, and it always seems to me
Mm-hmm.
like this is the strong point, the social point. But sometimes gamers feel like, yeah, why would I? I don't know. Why would I get a headset and whatnot? So, but you seem to have
Yeah.
realized this right
You
away.
really that hallway experience with Chris, like I think it was that and a couple other ones was like I didn't realize the power of social VR until these things happened inside RiffMax. It was really at first just a thing to let's watch movies with my friends, open it up to the public, and then you realize the power of the social VR experience because there was nothing like it. Kind of fell in love, I think, with social VR. I know that Second Life had that going. Just technically with the headset on is where RiffMax came in with that, but it's really powerful.
It's
So
also very powerful
another
that
yeah.
Chris is distracting us by rezzing a dinosaur out of the outside of the window. And I should say for the podcast listeners, we are in a wonderful library here, and this is Chris. You said this is an actual library. This is the Cambridge. Oh my God! The dinosaur has just came in. The dinosaur just
It's
came in.
this is the Jurassic Park experience. Chris is like the best puppeteer I've ever seen.
So you can puppeteer these things. Okay, a million questions. First of all, where
I
are we?
know, I
Where
know.
are we right now? Describe this
We
library.
are in the Oxford Library. They're one
Oh,
of our
Oxford.
partners. And what we've done, we actually worked with them on a couple of different projects. We worked with them on a life module where it's a training program for folks in Kenya, Africa, to save the lives of babies. And you actually go through the process of resuscitating the baby and all of that. And we've also put trackers on all of their professors, and they give lessons in here. And I'll let you check that out a little bit later.
Hmm.
And you can join the best of the best in having a lesson with all the 3D effects.
Okay, now quick.
Chris, give me IFX just in case I want to do some
Oh,
quick
for sure.
puppeteering on the side.
So you're bringing up this tablet here, and this is a thing that I've seen in other worlds. A tablet is sort of the command center. Oops, I can't. Ah, here we go. I'm pointing. I can bring up a camera. Um, and I can flip the camera so I'm looking at myself. And how did you throw
Hmm.
up this mirror earlier? You threw up a mirror?
Well, can I show you how to be a magician in here? Can I walk you
Yeah,
through that?
yeah.
Okay, so first of all, hit the same key to make your tablet go away. You're going to want to use the one in your left hand. There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. Perfect. You're going to see an IFX symbol at the top of your tablet. Take your little green dot and touch it to the IFX,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to see a listing of thousands of objects come up. You
Oh
see
my
animals
God.
right now because they start with the letter A, but you can use filters to filter categories, pick some tags, go to science category, medical category, enterprise, whatever.
Oh my God. Here's a Greek statue. I can
Oh,
res.
oh
I can
God, you got
bring.
it. There it
I
is.
can
Look at
bring
that.
the
Now,
statue.
if you
I,
want to grab that again,
Out of order
I'll
is
show you
here,
how to
by
bring
the
it.
way. He resed a fox.
Look at
Vasai
this.
is
He's
over here.
he's already doing the magician stuff.
Yeah, yeah. He's re he
Nice.
rest he rest his furry friend from his furry community. So,
So check this out. So you can scale it. Look at this. I can shrink it. Look at you got the Magic Leap demo in your hand, Drax.
Wow. So Chris has rested an elephant, and he has the elephant from the first Magic Leap video way back when. And rhinoceros is here, a chicken. So you have access to these different objects, which is wonderful for a classroom where the teacher wants to have control. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is here. Boom. Okay, now let me ask you the big elephant in the room question. There's lots of social VR spaces, as we know, high fidelity, Sansar, and. What do you think makes Engage VR the place for virtual education? I could build a classroom in high fidelity. I can build a classroom
Hmm.
in Sansar. I can even build a classroom in VR chat if I wanted to hang out with misogynist 12-year-old. Sorry that I had to squeeze that one in there. But no, why
Speak the
is
truth.
always what is Engage VR? What do you guys do different? What do you do better?
Yeah.
The focus is on
So
education.
So as we know, the whole power of social VR in the first place is allowing us to express ourselves with others despite our geophysical location. So that's kind of it across the board for all of us players in this space.
Right.
Where we do things differently is we're taking the fact that we can do very lifelike interactions of sharing knowledge with each other, and we want to give us superpowers, and we're focusing specifically on the education. We're not going the other directions. You noticed even when you came in here, you didn't start in an open platform with people all around you.
Right.
It's room by room. You have complete control. We're
It's room by room.
targeting
I
educators.
actually have to put in a password if I want to join the session.
We want to keep this safe from the craziness that people have that level of control, especially educators. And we're focusing specifically on that, the tools specific to exchanging knowledge and being able to share knowledge in new ways with our superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just, like every other platform, this is evergreen, man. We are so excited. It's like every month we're adding stuff that enhance what teachers, educators can do.
What I really like, so if maybe we can, oh, we're totally in the zoo. Now it's raining. I hear rain.
Someone found the sound effects, yes.
That is out of order. A problem student. You gotta go to the principal. It's raining. So now.
You can take his IFX away.
Destroy my IFX is a button here on the
See, that's for your own, but Chris is the host, so like the teacher, he can say, now you're in the dunce chair now, you can, no more audio for you.
So, no, this is actually interesting. Let's take this as an example. So we are in a classroom, and Out of Order is a known troublemaker. He's almost expelled. How can we stop him? Can we?
As a manager, I can do this. First of all, let's get rid of that noise. There goes your creations. And now I am going to take away all of his privileges. There they go. I just removed his IFX. He no longer has magic powers. I feel horrible about.
Okay. But in the 70s, there was the black pedagogy in Germany where the kids were beaten and put into rooms. Can we lock him into a dungeon? I think we need to bring that pedagogy back. I'm just kidding. Of course we shouldn't.
We t-
With him, we might.
Mike, can you
Oh
bring up
wow, you can
the
actually.
stall?
What is it? Which one?
The construction stall. We could put him in there, and we could put a
Oh,
cone
yeah,
on
yeah,
his
yeah.
head
It's
as
porta
a
potty.
dunce cap.
Oh, that is
I
fun.
believe it's called a porta potty. Here we go. Is
Oh.
this what we're talking about?
Yeah, there we go. And I'll bring in the cone. Here's the dunce cap.
Oh,
There we go.
you can put him in a porta potty. But he brought
Oh,
up
God.
a cannon. He brought up a cannon. He's gonna shoot us.
Uh-oh. He's fighting back.
That's funny.
So, one thing that when I came in here first, what was awesome, I went into the classroom. So this is a traditional lecture room, but what was really nice is this a was this a demo? Because I saw NPCs coming in, and it was really well done. It really felt like um,
That's the, if you're talking about, is he talking about the lesson, right?
Yes, the welcome to engage.
So all
I'm
these
assuming.
tools we have at our disposal here, like if Chris wanted to create
I'm going to
content,
pull up the Venus one just for a second, just to show the intro.
Yeah.
This is what you're talking about here,
this
Drax.
is all created inside
wait, I
the
hear
platform.
noise. I hear noise.
I'm going to
Here.
take care of that right now, and we're going
Out
to
of-
strip everybody of it.
order.
There we go.
Out of
Okay.
order. We gotta strip him of
I just took
absolutely
everyone's
everything.
powers away.
None of
Yes.
his pants. Though. Oh my God, this
Here we
is really
go.
awesome.
Okay, this is going to take just Oxford professor right now.
So you're bringing up a media screen here.
I'm a planetary scientist, and today I'm going to talk about Venus.
Oh wow.
Venus is the other planet, which is neighboring Earth. You hear a lot about Mars and Mars missions, so I'm going to try to argue that Venus is actually a really interesting place. It has a lot to tell us about how Earth-like planets work and so on. So what I'll talk about is, first I'll tell you why Venus is interesting and so on, and then what we know about it in the past, and then how we can find out about it in the future and the exciting possibilities there. So Venus and the Earth and Mars are basically like sibling planets. They were formed at around the same
Chris,
time.
pause it real quick.
From the same material.
Yeah,
the
I'm looking to
similar.
do that. Hang on
They're
one
very different,
second.
for example, from the outer planets, the giant
Here we
planets.
go. Boom.
This is amazing. Let me just say for the podcast audience. So you paused it. This is amazing. So you hit the button, and basically this lecture of this lecture here about Venus comes up, and we see the planets, and we see the avatar, a non-player character with the audio from that lecture, and behind him a big screen, and all these props basically appear in the room where we are at, and you just paused it, and now I'm assuming you can start, you can rewind possibly, I guess. I mean, this is
Just like
Yeah.
it's a
damn
movie.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh my
exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to hit play again. I
Yeah.
fast forwarded this a little bit. I'll hit play, and it's kind of fun when he opens a portal to Venus. Let's see what happens.
There's this disc on the top to slow it down as it drops through the atmosphere. It's a bit like dropping a stone into a lake rather than dropping something into an atmosphere because of the high density. So these are actual pictures from the surface of Venus taken in the early 80s by a Soviet probe. You can see quite a volcanic landscape.
No, we're in the volcano.
These are black, sort of
We're
basaltic
literally
lava
sinking
flows.
into this.
Oh
The
my
light
God.
reaching the surface is yellowish because of the cloud deck, which is everywhere on Venus.
How does Oxford feel, Mike, about us setting their library on fire? Like
Yeah,
this?
they
So
were a
the-
little upset at
So
first.
the
but,
library is
yeah.
literally burning, and Chris, I mean, I'm really blown away because this is I just did a longer piece about education and Second Life where, unbeknownst to probably the public, the Florida State University system is funneling thousands of students per semester through Second Life with very well designed, desktop modules sold by Pearson Education, and we were talking about taking this to the next level, and I would say this is precisely what these guys need. I mean, so let me ask you the lecture also that was, I guess, motion captured or keyframed? I mean, or is this sort of done after the fact? I mean, could you potentially just
Those are all recorded right inside the platform.
Just like we
We
recorded you,
went,
Drax.
yeah,
Oh, I
exactly.
see. Oh, so
Yeah,
that's even better. So the
I was
Right?
trying
So
to
lecturer
no,
recommend
you
just
with my,
acts like
yeah,
that, acts naturally with his
yeah.
body language. You just record that, and then you can play it back, and bingo.
Man, you should
yeah.
totally come do a lecture in here about social VR,
Oh
man, so we
yeah.
can record that thing and it'll be
That'd be
permanently
awesome.
Chris,
archived.
Chris, you would not believe it. I was at the grocery store yesterday. There's this wonderful woman at the checkout from the Ukraine, and I start talking to her, and she was sort of commiserating with me that in Germany people sort of discriminate against people who don't speak perfect German. And I said, I know, that really bugs me. And then we started talking about stuff, and I told her a little bit about virtual watch, and she said, if you were a lecturer, I would listen to you for hours. And I go, you got to tell my wife that. That's awesome. Yes, I'll take
Yeah,
you up on that.
we're really
Awesome.
just trying to make it as easy as possible, as quick as possible to get the most immersive lesson that you can make, so just a lot of this stuff you can do on the fly.
Right.
After you're done recording, you just record your IFX, your Venus thing. All these things are made with the standard IFX system, and then you throw and put all these things together inside the Engage editor,
So
which I
again,
think we have
the
access to, but
IFX
it's
is
still in
basic. It's
development.
basically in your tablet. Again, how do I bring it up? Be-
Oh, yep. Let me give you the powers here again. Hang on. Here we go.
Ah,
Boom.
right. The powers have to be given to me by the teacher. So the IFX has all these different objects and the effects and the video screens. And then Mike, I'm assuming that um, logistically he would record himself talking, and then can he then add that stuff in multiple passes, or how
Yeah.
does that work? Like a
Well, in
video
this case,
editor?
say like you can actually you can record your motion and then add the audio of your voice in afterwards if you want.
Hmm.
That's also, you just do that right inside the edit recording feature. But so you would do the recording separately. You could actually do 4 recordings of yourself and put them all into the same lesson if you want to have a helping hand, or you could act out a different person and pop that in.
But how would he?
And then
Well,
yeah,
hello, Kiana Writer.
Oh, I just saw it. I see a Drax Files episode.
Hello, Drax.
How do you feel about
Oh,
Halloween?
that guy looks
I
good. Look at
love
him.
this season. I wish it
His
was
hair.
like always
I
Halloween.
see another
And,
Drax Files
that's
episode.
precisely why you
I
guys
see a
live
third
in the
one.
World, I understand.
as many TVs as you
Why
want.
are you talking
Oh
with
my
this
God!
strange
For an
voice?
egocentric person like myself, this is wonderful.
I can hear the excitement in your voice, Drax.
No, but
Tell me about Matt.
so hold on, stop
Matt
this for a
is
second. What
huge
Okay.
and
I
very
wanted to
interactive.
ask Mike again. I
The-
mean, logistically,
Yeah.
this presentation that we just saw with the Venus, would he then add the props and stuff later? I mean,
Yeah, you
how
can do
does? Yeah,
that.
go ahead.
There's an application inside of Engage here. It's called the Content Creator. So you go in there, your timeline, and if you want to add recordings to it, if you want to add, and if you want to add any IFX or the snapshots of IFX, like we could take a snapshot of what we got in the room. I'll save one, Chris.
Okay.
And these make it really easy to say set up a scene of things, and then you could pop that into the editor. So everything, basically all the components of Engage are compatible with the content creator. And so you just grab these different things that you did inside Engage, or like even a meeting with people, and those things can be added into any scene you want, any location like we're in now. You don't have to record it in the same place. And then you put it together in your timeline, and everything's based on the time you want it to come out. So
So it's like a
that's
timeline
basically
based.
how that
This
was
is
created.
amazing. So like a timeline editor, and I can just place it where
Yeah, it's
I
like
need it.
making a little movie, you know?
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
Can,
exactly.
should we show him the editor here real quick?
Sure, if you want.
Yeah.
Or at
You can
least show him
actually
how you
go
can
in.
scale it, you know?
Yeah, we'll go in. Chris has most
Well,
of the
first of
options
all,
in
we
it, but
need
we
to
can
put out
actually
of
go
order
in.
back into the porta potty because he's renting squids. The
He's-
the funny, ironic thing for the podcast listeners, we just had all these screens stopped right at where it says Mad World. Was a story about Mad P Productions and SL. Incidentally, it stopped at that frame. The irony.
Did you take a snapshot of that scene that you can pull it back up now?
Yeah, see, I'll just load that one back
So
up
check this
here.
out. So
Let's
I've
see.
destroyed it, but now that he's taken a snapshot of it, he
Right.
can pull that
I
whole
have
thing right up again.
so many snapshots on here. I'm just trying to find it. So I didn't load it. So I can scale that now, or because I didn't choose like
Oh
load
my
exactly
God.
where we made it. But like, yeah, everything's kind of like this. Where even recordings, if you want to just put yours upside down and scale
Right.
yourself to like 10 feet tall,
So
it's all just very
for the
yeah.
podcast listeners, Mike is basically has now brought the 3D scene with the objects back, and they're playing back, and they can be stopped. And can you still now take out the individual objects and rearrange them in the room from that
Yeah,
scene?
exactly. So that's
That's
called break
amazing.
snapshot. So so I'm going to load exactly how we had it.
Hmm.
Now I can take the entire thing while it's still in as a snapshot here and scale it there. And
Scale
then
it
if I
down.
break, well, sorry, it's called edit snapshot. It breaks them all into individual pieces at that point. So you can manipulate it and then take the snapshot again. You can actually combine snapshots with other people. Very quick way to make like your own scenes and to create like a world of your own, like starting with whatever point you want, and then just
I can enact a scene with objects or props, if you will. I can record this scene with the objects in the physical space at their coordinates as they are. Then I can replay that scene and reorder those individual items into other configurations and combine it with new objects and save that as a new scene. There was an app called Tavori. Do you happen to know this, Chris? Tavori?
That's the animation app.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I saw that early on when I got my Oculus, actually when I got the Vive, and that was very impressive. This reminds me of that because their whole thing
Mm.
was, hey, you can sort of put these props out and then you can record little movies with it. Um, but I don't know what they're doing
Do you
these
know
days.
what one of the coolest applications I think of doing those spatial recordings is that when you're doing serious trainings,
Right.
you can just have the user hop out of their body and watch themselves do the training and be their own critique, give themselves their own critique.
Dang.
yeah, exactly. That's a good one, huh?
Wait, so could
But
you then, if we were recording this conversation, could I then also extract avatars out of the scene? Do
yeah, of
avatars
course,
become
yeah,
objects basically that I could use as actors and place them
yeah.
in different?
Well, you use them as recordings. So I could go and I could say I want to record just you or just Chris. If Chris, as the host, gives me recording powers, we could all actually record at the same time.
Right.
And I could take a part of his recording. I can remove the audio. I can put him, next to this lady, so he's interacting with her.
Two ladies appeared. Did
But
Out of Order
basically,
res them? Are this his girlfriends?
of course.
Who knew? Oh, three ladies. Yeah. And so
Three ladies. Yeah.
the permissions again are controlled basically by the administrator, in
The
this case
host.
the host, the
Mhm.
host of
Yeah.
the room,
Mhm.
right? Because we're in a room again. Chris, you created the session and you're the host, and therefore the hierarchy is such
hmm
that you can restrict other people's permissions and such. That is pretty awesome. Mm.
Yeah, and then the host can also have a sub-host too and give them certain powers as well, if you need an
Yes.
assistant.
Chris has given me media power, so I could actually stream my desktop or a website here. And when you're doing the recordings and you want to record like yourself talking about a PowerPoint, it of course will record whatever was on the web
Right.
or your desktop sharing. So that gets recorded in there, and you could say, I don't want to use that. If you're creating the content, you don't have to play back the media, or you could have one recording play back what it was playing. It's all up to you.
So you can
Let's
easily
just
bring up a screen. So let's try that. Can you share? Um, so I could, if I had like Sansar open on my desktop, could I bring Sansar in here and
Uh-huh.
can watch
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
what people do
exactly.
in my
Yes.
basement in Sansar and spy on them?
Like
Totally.
I just pulled up
Yes.
my this is what my web browser is doing
Uh-huh.
right now. So
Out of order, we
obviously
can bring
you
high fidelity. We can bring the money tree in here and we can see who is under the money tree in high fidelity.
That's right.
I believe
That's
actually
right.
Steve actually was using a web VR app, but it
He
wasn't.
was. I saw
displaying
him
in
doing it.
VR,
He was,
but
yeah.
it was the little ping pong.
Mhm.
Oh.
It's kind of yeah.
So you can use it. You can use like a flash game too, or something like that on the web.
Yes,
Like you can go
exactly.
in, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and a lot of things will work. Some things won't. Like anything that would have to install something like as
Hmm.
a plugin on your browser won't work. But most general websites are fully compatible.
Hmm.
Like I'm
Well,
actually
what would be cool
on
if
my
you bring up a
desktop
flash
here.
game, you could literally like play it just like you're on a cell phone here.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so Chris is bringing up actually. You're
It's a
holding
nice
it.
one.
You resized your screen to a sort of like a phone, smartphone
Mm-hmm.
size.
And then yep. Mm-hmm. And then
I don't see
if
anything.
I'm the one
Go
if
to
I'm the one
Google.
doing the screen share, Mike.
Oh yeah, we need a screen in order to see the screen share, right? Oh, you want me
Yeah,
to?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll screen share
To
from.
have him see it on the mini
I'm gonna
screen
show
here.
you
There we
what
go.
Ah,
it might take a little bit to start the stream.
It's going on my end. Oh yeah,
oh
the
wow. So
stream.
what do I see now on your screen here? I see us.
I have it full size right now on that screen, but I can go to my other monitor. So
What are we looking at
there's
here though,
What are we
Mike? I mean,
looking at?
I'm seeing myself. Oh, there's your
this is my
screen. There's your
desktop screen.
desktop.
This is my second monitor, and this is my first monitor here. So I'm just screen sharing my desktop, and if I wanted to start, say, with a website, then I can go to the U.S. news because I have to
You
put
brought.
U.S.
Looks like
dot everything in
you
here.
didn't tell me you were bringing your kids, Drax.
Oh, out of out of order. These kids
So
have to
it's a
go back
tiny
to
screen.
school.
There we go.
This is all we could afford here was this tiny screen.
Uh-huh. Oh, you know what?
So
Now
that's
I
yeah.
don't have it handy, but there is this website with what was that? Chris, those the first handheld games. What were they called? Game and Clock and Game or something like that. And there's a website that archives the Russian
Oh, are you
version
talking
of
those
those.
old LED handheld games like way
Exactly.
back in the analog days?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. They just had like three different steps, like the ball,
Yeah.
when the ball was
Yes.
going from left to right, it was just illuminating that space on the
Totally.
screen. And I found a website where in Russia they had similar sort of knockoff versions, and some guy made them all into playable Flash games on that website. I gotta find that.
Oh, very
Okay, take me
cool.
some time.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let's go to a different. Show me a
Yeah.
bunch of different places.
Okay. Sure.
And then
Let's
how?
uh
Oh, no, go
let's
ahead.
head on over to let's head on over to the Apollo launch complex where we got the Saturn V ready to launch the Apollo 11 mission. Here we go.
Poor Versailles is completely muted. Ah, okay. So basically the screen goes black because Chris is the host, and so he is going with us or taking us with him as if he were the teacher, um, the host, and so he can go on a virtual field trip with us and take the entire class with us. Ah, there was an error downloading or saving the updated location. Please check your drive space and network connection and restart Engage. Okay, I'm gonna rejoin the space that was created for the stream. I'm entering my password. Oops, my password is viewable on the screen. Uh-huh. This is interesting. Okay, hold on here. We look at the error message. The host has moved the session to Apollo Launch Complex 39. So there was an issue where it said drive space, but I can tell you I have enough space. Or have I? I should have enough space. Let's see what the error here is. Please be patient with us on the stream. Actually, gives me an opportunity to check if the stream is okay. Yes, it is. Let's see if people are looking at this. Ah, okay. People are watching it. Blobthang, Geomeek, and and Shyla. Shyla, please keep asking questions here. I'm going to pose them. Shyla is asking how long does it take to put a presentation together with builds. Um, I'll ask them that. I mean, it's really, I mean, if you've seen the way, I mean, I'll ask how long it would take for the lecturer, the Venus presentation. That would be very interesting. But as you could see, and I should show this again, with basically this entire smorgasbord of objects, of props and environments and special effects, um, you have like an entire, yeah, you have like a huge inventory. I mean, you have this entire inventory of stuff. Uh, yeah, transfer cell classes. I'm sure there is a way to, you know what? I'm just going to restart this. So bear with me. I'll put it up on the thumbnail image and restart this here real quick. That's a good question because I will ask about the business model essentially. If you could create modules like in my Second Life piece about CNDG, where they basically create these modules and then they sell them to the university via distributed by Pearson. And I would assume that the business model here might be similar, that you would have to pay to get access to some of these classes, or they would be financed through the university that provides these classes provides them in bulk. Okay, here we go. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Looks like everything is in order. I'm submitting my password and I'm joining, and I'm bringing back up the
Server might have gone down.
Here we go. I'm back.
Here's some. Oh,
Hello.
he's
Hey,
back.
Drax.
Oh, we're not sure what happened there, man.
No
Yeah.
problem. I restarted. It was really interesting because Shyla is watching on the stream. She's asking a bunch of really good questions. Let me hit you with
Oh,
these questions. She says,
cool.
how smart? And she was asking how long does it take to put a presentation together with builds? I guess maybe like the Venus presentation, but you know, we already saw that basically you have this comes with this entire huge inventory of props,
Uh-huh.
objects, effects,
Mm-hmm.
and so I guess the way you outlined this, Mike, with the editor, my
Yeah.
answer to Shyla would be, you know, if you get a hang of the editor and you have all these props, I think it could go
Yeah.
fairly quickly if you, as a lecturer, know your subject matter. You know, you have your subject
Mm-hmm.
matter
Mm-hmm.
down.
Mm-hmm.
All you need to do is to pepper the lecture with, um, yeah, with the
Yeah.
specific objects and some of these other assets.
Yeah. It really depends on how polished and how much you want to spend editing it, because technically it should only take the time to deliver the lecture to create the lecture if you're using the recording system. Some recordings come out incredible, especially when you have somebody like Chris puppeteering for you, that you could actually get a lecture from beginning to end pretty quickly.
Oops, what happened? Where are
Well,
we?
we
You
might
know,
as
my
well. I was just thinking, if we're going to talk, we might as well have a cool background.
Oh, we are 20
Hey, and
meters
something,
above ground level.
something that might be
This is-
cool for your viewers right now, Drax. If you go open your tablet and touch the camera icon on the far right-hand side, and then look through the tablet, you can see us, which is kind of
Oh
fun.
my God. Yeah, we're floating through it. Here is Chris, here's Mike, and if I flip the camera, actually, you know what I like? This is a little thing here with the camera that you touch it. That you touch it with the this is a really nice touch, pun intended, of the interface design. I mean, it's good. So, Shyla was also asking, I guess, and this was my question too, about the business model. The company that I profiled in SL that worked through Pearson, they basically deliver these modules, and then the Florida State University system buys them the license through
Mm.
Pearson. I mean, here you can already tell. I mean, because I can have a lecture and then it's password protected, I could charge for that lecture, or that lecture is
Mm-hmm.
rolled into
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
a university course as some extra curriculum, or is that how it works? I mean, how would it work if I were an individual lecturer? I mean, how can, or anyways, what's the business model? What?
Yeah. So we're building the pipeline for any individual around the world. We're democratizing their ability to teach the world, and they can upload their lessons. They can upload their objects, whatever they want to bring onto the system, and they can make that available for a cost or free or whatever they want to do. So we're going to get a whole marketplace going here surrounding education.
Ah, so you can go in and then you go like, okay, I'm gonna buy this lecture on the solar system, let's say.
Or a
Mm-hmm.
course. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Yep.
God. Or a course on
And
Which
then
could
music
include
production.
live.
Like why is Dragster, Dragster teaches you modern jazz maybe.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah,
buy that.
Oh my God. Wait, I'm going to do an entire series on Frank Zappa, like a 50-part
Oh
series.
my
Oh my
God, that would be
God.
amazing.
But the next 5 years are booked, guys. That it's over. This is cool.
Man, you could make that experience so crazy and interactive, people will just never recover from it,
Oh
Drax.
my God. I can play the
Yeah.
songs, and in live I'll just push out the objects, and I record those objects. Oh my God. And
Yeah.
so but you have some
Well,
institutional partners as well that are.
yes. Yes, we have enterprise licensing as well. Enterprise want label, brand it, and use it how they see fit. And that's all based on number of seats, right? And what their needs are. But we do enterprise licensing. And you mentioned we have institutional partners. One of my favorite partners is Shenandoah University. So one of the things that they've always specialized in is live actor training. What I mean by that is they send actors in to do these trainings, right? They play the role of the victim.
Mhm.
They add, set up a scene in the real world, etc. They're bringing that entire model into VR. So they're creating one of a virtual workforce. So an organization can call them up and say, we need training for the following. And they will build that set and they will send in their live actors to provide that training to anyone in the world.
Wow. You know what comes to mind? I remember my wife worked at courts for wow, almost 15 years, and I remember when I discovered Second Life, she was saying like, wow, we could at a trial, we could sort of build the place where a crime happened, let's say, and then you could look at it from different angles, and you could be more accurate with asking the witnesses, let's say, did he really come from this side, or and that was back in 2007. Now you could reenact a scene of a crime, or some other complex thing
Mm-hmm.
from all sorts of different angles with all the participants, and then really examine it and be more
Yeah.
accurate that way. Mhm.
Exactly. And as you know, Draxter, I think one of the killer apps going forward in the future, especially as 5G hits, is the reality capture itself. To bring in reality into here in very short periods of time, so it's not quite real time yet, but we can get fairly close to that,
Mhm.
and literally live in reality, in virtual reality, and do like a court scene sort of thing like you described, where you're taking the actual space and you're having experts walk you through that whole experience with
Mhm.
real world stuff. Like we have this group, WISRD in California, teenagers. It's a STEM group, and
Mhm.
they actually were building weather balloons in here collaboratively that they were actually going to launch in the real world. And some of the components, they were able to just use their phone, scan the component, upload it onto our system, and then attach it to their weather balloon so that they could figure out what works and what doesn't. Things like that
That's
are
amazing.
just going to be commonplace, right?
Yeah, and if you tie it in exactly, if you tie it in sort of with physical activity, I mean, we don't have to waste time on trying to debunk some of these issues of escapism, which I'm getting really tired of. Of course, that's an issue, but it's an issue with crappy reality television and a 12 pack of beer. We don't because I get asked that all the time. And a German magazine wanted to do a piece about like whatever happened to Second Life, and they called me. That did a pre-interview, and after the pre-interview, I declined the interview because it was all about like, oh yeah, so people still sort of like running away from reality into these worlds and trying to sort of escape and zone out and stuff. And I go like, you know what? I'm really tired of this line of questioning. If you have interesting questions, call me back. Goodbye. But do you get? But speaking of this, do you get pushback at all from the educational community? Because they do have, I think they do have valid concerns. I remember when my son was in elementary school, and again, I mean, not, Second Life is a complicated uh, beast, especially for very sort of little applications that they did, and even in middle school. The primary feedback that I got from conversations with educators is that they're just swamped anyways with their job, and so adding complexity from a
Mm,
technical standpoint is drove them crazy. So that's why they rejected it. That's what was my feeling. It was not so much like, oh, the kids have too much screen anyways. I mean, that's one argument too, but the main argument is the ease of use, I guess. Right. So,
hmm.
and we're not talking about, we're talking about people who are not very tech savvy. Like, how would you quote unquote sell this to a teacher who is
Yeah,
fascinated by this stuff, but who is really afraid of, like, I don't understand how this works. I mean, how can I be at the table?
yeah. And that's kind of true with any new revolutionary technology that's brought into the classroom. We kind of go through that phase where it feels like we're getting slowed down in some ways because we have to learn this new process. But once we learn it, we find that it opens up the world, and we like look back and say, how could we have lived without that? But you're right, virtual reality has a lot of friction points right now, and this is why we're so excited for things like the Quest and the wireless. I think this is a turning point year for at least getting the friction down to where it's not alienating most people, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and for us here at Engage, we're constantly, and obviously this is always a work in process, but we're trying to get that UI to a place where we're
Right.
trying to make it as user friendly as possible, and that's always a challenge,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
But
but you did
work
a
on it
great
every
job
day.
with the UI. But the other thing is, okay, Mike, I mean,
Thanks.
does this work in
Yeah.
desktop as well? I mean, could I use it just in
Hmm.
Yeah.
desktop? Oh yeah, okay.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Some desktop has its little features that VR doesn't have because you have the accuracy of the mouse and everything. So
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
some cases, you might want to go in on desktop, but we definitely picture educators and whatnot not to necessarily put the headset on every time they go in to try to create some content or even consume content or meet. Like I use desktop quite a bit just because at times it's more convenient
Right, and
and
they
you
might
maybe
even
want to
show it
be
when they're
doing
in the
something else at the same
right.
time.
And when they're in the classroom, they
Yeah,
could they
so
could show it, and they can keep an eye on the class.
Hmm.
yeah, exactly. So we're focusing on cross-platform. Like this is the year of untethered, standalone,
Right.
six-stop, hand-tracked VR, and so we want people to come in with whatever device we can make available to have the real good experience on here. So if people want to come in on monitor and meet somebody on Quest, meanwhile we have people over here with Vive and Oculus, and you know, uh, that's the ultimate goal. There is just like I get it. Like Chris and I are both tired of Steam and the Windows updates and the
Hmm.
wires, and everybody's looking forward to devices like the Quest and the Focus and like these things coming along to where one day it's just grab the headset, your adoption rates go up, your people staying in and keeping putting that headset on stays. You have a lot better retention rates, I guess it
Hmm.
is.
Hmm. No, no, no. Hey, I'm
Well,
peeking.
I'm assuming.
I'm peeking underneath the headset. Speaking of the headset, because Shyla says here the UI is awesome from what I've seen so far, and Shyla is the star, one of the stars of my documentary about disability in virtual worlds,
Mm,
and Shyla
mm.
always looks because we always have this
Hi,
discussion
Shyla.
from an inclusivity standpoint, because a lot of platforms are when we talk about people with various disabilities, it's always a little bit of an afterthought. So the UI is even more important, I think, for folks with disabilities. Shyla says, "Have you ever considered becoming the next public broadcasting system for learning or the next learning channel to gain an even wider audience?" Oh my God, she's giving you an idea. You could
That's
stream 24/7, streaming.
Yeah, well, we expect users and clients on the platform to take advantage of that. We're just the ones making the software. We're not the ones providing the content.
Hmm.
We want the people with the information that they want to teach the world with to get in there and make that content. So
we just want
that's
to empower them as much as we possibly can with
exactly.
awesome tools and make it as easy as possible. And like Steve Banbury out of Dubai, he runs a CPD and VR
Oh,
event here
that's
every
right,
month.
right. I've
And
interacted with him on Twitter. Tell me about him.
oh,
This is amazing.
well,
What
yeah.
what is he
So
doing? Yeah.
so he I love him so much because he was one of those first pioneers that's like, you know what, we're doing this VR in the classroom, period. And he made it happen out at Just Dubai. And he's been so awesome in just getting educators all gathered together. It's like this army of educators that are so excited about VR and how to implement it in the classrooms. So he has these events every month where he brings luminaries in and we have panel discussions and we go on journeys. We use this theater room to go into 3D paintings and all these things. But like he brings on people like Alvin Graylin, HTC Vive president in China, came and spoke. Charlie Fink, the AR specialist, came and spoke. Uh, we've got Tom Furness is coming this next week. We're so excited about the
Oh,
grandfather of VR.
and this is a good that you mentioned AR because this is what I was going to ask. Now, a lot of
Mm,
people, because I mean, this has kind of little bit ebbed off, I guess, the whole like VR versus AR, but I feel it's still a kind of a valid question for VR enthusiasts. What do you guys think about AR? Because people make the argument sometimes like, VR is nice, but frankly, that's a transitional technology. It's going to be obsolete because AR is so much
Absolutely.
better.
Yeah.
What do you think about this, Mike?
I don't see it as one or the other. I never really have. AR just has like the cameras enabled in a way. Like
Hmm.
obviously it won't be possible with the cameras, but I get it. Like I'm not on one side or the other. I can't wait for AR personally.
Hmm.
And I think as a developer, it doesn't really mean one or the other either. That you can just open up like take the skybox off and let's make this an AR area. That's how I'm seeing it.
Hmm. The,
And of
I
course
just
take advantage of some of those things.
I mean, I gotta say, I mean, Chris, I mean, I want to hear your opinion too. I personally am a bigger fan of VR, and I'll tell you why. Because it's the immersion. To me, VR is like reading a paper book because I'm committing to one thing,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
so the fact that the headset
Mm.
shuts out everything around me is something that I welcome because I'm making a commitment to this thing right here versus AR. And again, I mean, you can use AR like that too, but more often than not, then people tend to multitask and don't have their focused attention flow on this one thing. So I think that is actually a unique strength of virtual reality versus AR. So that's sort of my take on it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think AR in the end, like AR is going to be really useful when you're at the coffee shop, like in the Black Mirror kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
But I
because Black
don't.
Mirror is such a utopia. You want us to
Yes, it's
go.
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. It's the future.
That's what we all want. Yeah.
but uh, but I do agree with the VR thing. If you really want to take kids on a field trip,
Yeah.
or adults, this is the way to do it because our attention is focused here. We're not
Yeah.
distracted.
Yeah, and I'm here with you guys now, and no matter come hell or high water, apartment on fire, who cares? I'm gonna die with you
Yeah.
guys. while I'm standing on a platform.
I'll tell you, Drax, one of the things I'm excited about when it comes to mixed reality is, as these headsets evolve, we're getting more and more the sensors that are reading your environment that you're standing in. And there's going to come a point here relatively soon where if you're in a headset and I'm in a headset, I will literally be able to step into your current room in your geophysical
Yes.
location
You're right.
and interact with you, man. And you
Yeah.
can come to mine. We can slide between each other's realities.
Yeah, that is
I
true.
got to be
That is
honest
actually
too.
pretty
Like
awesome.
if
Yeah.
I don't see what you guys are seeing, then I feel left out. So if we're all looking at our own living rooms, we're not able to talk about those things. So in a social aspect, it doesn't really make sense unless I can step into Chris's living room.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, but
grandma will be able to step in and blow and watch her granddaughter blow out the candles from 600 miles away.
no.
So
I mean, those
awesome.
are valid. I see. Now we're running out of time, but now we're getting into a real
Uh-huh.
philosophical discussion. But I would also say again, I mean, this is not mutually exclusive at all. But if I, for example, invite you guys to my home base in Sansar 114 Harvest, then we're all at the same space, and this is sort of a space that I created that represents me, and you guys can say, oh, very nice podcast room, nice microphones. So you guys do
Yeah.
see, you see what I see, and
Mhm.
oh, wait. So I need to mention this for the podcast listeners. If you haven't read Werner Winch Rainbow's End, I know everybody talks Snow Crash and
Mm.
Ready Player One, important books for VR, but I wanted the third one, most important must read for anybody in this space. Get it right now. Werner Winch Rainbow's End, and his scenario, his future scenario is much more AR because the people there, just in a nutshell, the little blurb synopsis, in that future people can have, via basically contact lenses, can have overlays of their choice onto the physical world. So some people may choose to look at a world of the 50s. Some people want to live on a different planet, but basically
Oh, yeah.
the real world physical geography is wrapped in these textures that device that everybody basically wears is sort of throwing up, and then there's sort of a murder mystery there and some AI stuff in the book too. But that's a must read because we're also kind of, I guess, fairly close to that technology. I think that book is from 2006.
Mm.
Anyway, any last
Awesome.
words? Where are we going
Yeah,
with this?
God, I'm just,
To the end of the world? Are we gonna
education's
yeah?
ready to be transformed. This is just so, and well, there's so many, I won't even mention it because we could go off on tangents,
But
but
Chris,
so many
I
ways that we can
yeah.
deliver to people that wouldn't otherwise have access to this
Yes, you're
amazing
speaking my
resource of
language.
knowledge.
Exactly,
Like
knowledge.
prisoners
Yes.
is a big one. Oh my God, I want to see
Oh, yeah.
prisoners getting educated in VR and training and learning how to do the real world skills that they're missing out on because they're in prison. There's just so
Or
many
be able to
positive
step out
ways.
of their bars for a second, and just
Well,
get out and,
Yeah.
I have a
you know.
novel idea. We could also reform the prison system to not be very uneven-handedly punish certain people, but you know, we could also just. I know that's not what you meant.
Yeah.
I'm just poking you.
I just want everybody in the world, regardless of where they're at, to have the opportunity to access vast amounts of knowledge in an experiential way, because it's just such an awesome way to learn. Retention's greater. They can feel like they've had these experiences and learn from them.
But will
That's what
people
I'm
use
excited
it though,
about.
or will they just watch Big Brother and whoever gets married on the frickin'
Mm.
Bachelor, Chris? How we
Oh
need to have
God, that's the
media literacy.
question.
We need to start at the bottom
This
to
is why we need to make education exciting, though. If you
with
make it
me,
exciting
Dragster.
enough,
I can do this. I can
see?
yes. Do you want to be taught by a guy? Actually, people don't see me here. Where is it? Do you want to be taught by a guy with these type of goggles? Hmm? And a half-baked weird goatee or whatever that is? Ah, it's fantastic. Guys, I'm absolutely thoroughly impressed. Um, and I'm gonna cut this out because we've been to a bunch of places that were not very impressive, but this one is. Oops, I'm still streaming. I
Thank
didn't
you.
mention any names. Oh, wait, is there any last questions here on the stream? Let me see. How does it run on a laptop or a cell phone? Oh, last question. Yeah, smartphone,
No cell
mobile
phone.
phone. Any
Not
plans or?
yet. Plans, yes. The first things that you'll see online are the Quest and some of the Six Stuff headsets. And then going forward, we're going to get it on as much as we can. You know.
Hmm.
So
But yes,
mobile phones,
laptops,
future.
laptops for sure.
Yeah.
Laptops, yeah, it needs to have a graphic card. You know?
Hmm.
But you
Yeah.
got that, like not the onboard style. Yeah.
I remember, I mean, I guess this also has really to do with, I'm sure you guys are watching if streaming games, remember On Live? I mean, Linden Lab had a deal with SL Go way back when, and then On Live was bought by Sony and they kind of dismantled it, but it was working theoretically. That they was streaming Second Life. It was quite amazing with almost no lag. I mean, it was insane. It was streaming on a
Yeah, that's
tablet,
crazy.
and it was basically pushing the information to those high-end machines, render it, and push it back onto your tablet, and you didn't even notice any delay. But ultimately, it was too expensive to run these the machines who rendered the
Servers.
content. Yeah.
Mhm.
Drexter, quick question for you. How did you first hear about immersive VR education Engage platform?
Well, I know this guy Chris Matson. I don't know where I first met him at the Sundance Film Festival or something.
Deep
Well, yeah,
water.
that's right. That's right.
No,
But,
seriously,
but I
I
didn't
heard.
know you had known that I'd made the jump. So yeah.
No, I didn't. And you were involved I was like, "Oh, he is behind this stuff." I was like, "Hmm." No, I mean this is I heard this through you. I mean this is actually a good question. What are the outreach models? I mean, what are the ways, I mean, besides the traditional ways to get a little bit of publicity with this stuff?
Well, we have folks like you come on board and shout us out, which is awesome, and we
Yes.
appreciate that. Um, we use all the social media channels. We've got a Twitter channel. We've got our website. www.engagevr.io is a good place to come to learn what we're up to. And we're getting a lot of use cases going on, a lot of articles in the media
Right.
that we rely on to get the word out. And, as you probably know, once you start getting these partners like Shenandoah that are doing amazing things with the platform, word spreads rather quickly. It's like, oh, look what they're doing. So word of mouth is really starting to pick up as well as we land all these new partners.
No, you really got to go to the schools and the institutions and the universities to push out that stuff. I mean, that's the
Hmm.
to do examples. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be representing at the virtual medicine conference at Cedars-Sinai next week.
Oh my
Super
God.
excited about that, right? Because there's so many medical applications. I think I sent you that video of just an example of the way patients can use VR for education, stress relief, just to hang out with their family members who might not be in the hospital room with them. I think that's just huge.
I did that in Second Life 10 years ago. But anyway,
Hmm.
I sound like one of these guys like, did you hear this band? And I go, yeah, in the 70s in the progressive rock era, they did that stuff. And now they kind of I think that's a sign of getting old. Okay, cool. Last question. If I wanted to explore by myself, if I just go in, then how do I go to places? So tell the noob,
Yeah.
if a noob signs up, where do they go? They grab their
So if you're
tablet?
Yeah,
the
you just
host, you're going to pull up the tablet and there's a location tab and it will open up all the environments that you can access
Hmm.
and
And you
just
have these, and right, and
go
some
away.
of them are demos. I mean, they run through because when you go in first, you see
Hmm.
like the one in the lecture hall says this is 5 minutes and 30. What does that mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's the content menu. So you can enter in through a location or through a piece of content,
Hmm.
and that'll take you to the location that content's in. So those are your two options: that and joining a session, joining an event. Those are the ways you get into Engage. And once you're inside, you can go to a different location, go to a different piece of content. But in the main menu, just create an account right there with Engage. You don't have to go to the website. You can. There's app.engagevr.io where you can manage your notes and your the other features from Engage, like you can create events,
Video
you can
links and all of that. It just
video
makes it
links,
easy.
web links, yeah. And so yeah, but the quickest way it would be start up Engage, create an account there, go right into a location, or check out maybe Welcome to Engage. It'll give you a brief overview of some of the features of Engage and how it's used.
Hmm.
And
And you
yeah, and
can
just explore,
and you can create your own world. I mean, I mean, I think I asked this in the beginning as well. So if I wanted to
Yeah,
right off the bat get my own world going and just experiment and create and film my own lecture,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So
and the
use
restriction
the
of access.
IFX
Sorry, go
feature.
ahead. Yeah,
I think I'm getting a little bit of lag here. Sorry.
yeah. No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Mike. How would I go about? I go in and
Oh,
I said I want to create my first lecture.
yeah. So you have the IFX feature. If you want to put some IFX out there, you can ahead of time. You can go ahead and create a snapshot of the scene that you want to create for your recording, and then if you record, everything in those IFX will record along with you, along with whatever media you play or whatever you have on your web browser. And you can go ahead and do it that way, and then you just play back the recording directly.
Hmm.
Or go ahead and upload that and see what happens. Or you can use the editor,
I guess I
which is
was
called the
asking
content
for.
creator.
I guess what is unclear to me, and oh we gotta get going. But what's unclear to me now is if I wanted to create my own room basically or my own
Mm.
space.
Mm-hmm. So you can either use our current existing environments and doctor them up how you would like, or if you've got an account with us, you can actually upload an environment and send that to the development team to get that placed onto
Ah,
your
okay.
account.
But I could have my own basically copy of the Oxford Library, let's say, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
something like
So the
that.
Oxford Library is an always existing environment, but you can go in and now personalize it with all of the IFX and special effects and
That's what I meant.
doctor it up to meet your needs.
Right, that's what I meant. So
Yeah,
just to put this in context, like with the other social worlds like Sensor and High Fidelity, I basically make my own. If I go in there and I'm the host, then it would be basically a duplicate that is private to me and whoever I would
Mm-hmm.
invite into that space. Ah, okay, that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Exactly. And just make sure when you set all that up in your room, you just hit save snapshot,
Right.
and then you can just pull that all those doctored up pieces with one push of a button.
yeah.
Amazing.
And collaborate with others with your snapshot. You can load one up, and Chris
Oh,
can
you
load
can
one up,
mix and
and I
match.
save a
Yeah.
new one. Yeah, exactly. It's fun.
And you're still hosting this, so you can teleport us to an end place. Do you have a beach or anything? And
Yes.
then I can
Oh
play some
yeah.
beach. You see? So
Let's go.
Chris is
Nice.
totally still in charge and has the mass can totally
Here,
just put
I'm
a.
gonna spawn us beyond the beach, Drax. Here we go.
This is so cool. I always wanted to be back in school and Chris be my teacher. Um, amazing. Ah, shallow ocean. Okay,
Be
here
a
we
great
go.
grand finale.
Yeah.
Oh, we are in the water. Oh, wonderful. So
IFX Chris.
wait a minute, does Out of Order come with us? And where did Vasai? I guess he logged off. But uh, you always, I mean,
Here he
here
is.
he is. Here's Out of Order. He's lying on the ground because he is part of this part of this group. He's gonna be eaten by a shark. Okay, I'm gonna the shark. Ah, la, 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 la. You know the puppeteering aspect. I just also wanted to end here and say this with for the podcast listeners. I mean, you said this earlier, Mike. Chris as the master puppeteer. I mean, he's rezzing these
Yes.
objects here, and you can puppeteer them. So you could do. I mean, I could see this
Yeah.
with a class. Could be a puppet show or just a reenactment of a scene in a literature class.
Exactly. Or
Reenacting
a
this
play.
a play exactly, doing a live play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't even have to be live. You can you could do
Wait,
half
what?
of it today, half of it tomorrow. You could play all the roles in the play if you wanted to.
Yes, I'm gonna.
Of course, Chris never needs a second take on his, so he could just record these sequences of IFX and be done with it.
Have out of order eaten. That will take us out. Okay, I'm gonna end the stream here, guys. This
All
was
right.
absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Chris.
Pleasure seeing you again, Drax.
Thank
Pleasure.
you, Mike.
Drax, great to meet you in virtual life.
Super impressed, guys. Super impressed. And for
All
those
right.
watching this, goodbye. We're going to say bye bye. Bye bye. And this will be on the podcast. I actually wanted to have some outro music here. Where can we get some outro music? Let's see here. But yeah, this is pretty impressive, I have to say. That's it for the stream today. This will be on the podcast on Monday as per usual. Bye.
I'm wearing the wrong shoes. I'm wearing the wrong trousers. My hair is all weird. My jacket should be a different color. This is not my crowd. What am I doing here? This is not my crowd. This is not my crowd. This is not my crowd.